Now, please welcome our host, Christopher Rausch. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, rock stars of the Kick-Ass Nation. It is I, Christopher Rausch, your No Excuses coach. And we're back here for another amazing, impactful episode of the Raw Unscripted show. We are in episode number 343. In January, it's going to be 6 years we've been doing the show. So thank you to all the Raw and Unscripted people out in the world, all over the place, tuning in, whether you're watching the video cast every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or listening, of course, on the audio podcast. Thank you. You guys are the best. I appreciate you so much. Last week, we had a bunch of people who wrote into the show and said, Chris, thank you for doing that show about the lies we tell ourselves. Last week, that's what we did. And the lies that I talked about on the show last week were, in case you missed it, I don't have time. I'm not ready yet. It's just who I am. I'll be happy when. I can't help it. It's too late for me. I'm not good enough. It's not my fault. I've tried everything, and this is just how life is. I'm guessing there might be a few of those excuses or those lies that you tell yourself. So if you have not listened to that episode, go back and check it out. And what you can do is you can ask yourself questions. You can take action on each one of these episodes, almost like a homework assignment. So you show up, and tonight we're going to be talking about, what are we going to be talking about tonight? We're going to be talking about what I labeled this tonight. We talked about this, why you're mentally checking out and how to get your fire back. That's what tonight's episode is about, because I've had a lot of people saying, Chris, this is one thing I hear a lot. I know what to do. I just haven't been doing it. Or I haven't just been by myself lately, or I just don't feel like I'm connected to what it is that I'm doing. And I understand. I totally understand that. If you guys have been listening to this podcast, you know, a couple of months ago, I was honest with you guys. And I thought, you know what? I've done this episode. I've done these shows for 6 years now. I did a live radio show before that. Perhaps I've said what there is to be said about motivation and inspiration and education and having a no excuse, kick-ass, unstoppable life. So I thought about maybe not doing the show anymore. And then I thought about, I'm like, have I really said everything? No, there's no chance that I have. And so I'm excited, but this tonight's episode is why you're mentally checking out and how to get your fire back. And here's something I want to read for you that I wrote, just to kind of get your appetite wet for tonight, because this isn't for me, it's for you. Because if you're honest, there's a pretty good chance you clicked on this episode for a reason you don't want to admit out loud. Something in your life isn't working the way you know it could. Maybe you've been telling yourself the same old story. Maybe you've been avoiding the truth that's been tapping you on the shoulder for months. Maybe the gap between who you are and who you could be is starting to feel more heavier than your excuses that you've been carrying around. Right? We talk about this on the show a lot, the leverage. Oftentimes we know what to do. We know we should take better care of our health. And then what happens? We get the diagnosis that you have cancer. You get the diagnosis you have diabetes. You have diagnosis that you have high cholesterol, high blood pressure. And then what happens? You go, oh shit, I got to do something. But it's usually too late. So here's the part that stings a little. And you've probably been here before. You've had those moments, the late night realizations, I'm done with this, declarations, the mornings where you swore you would finally change something, and yet somehow you went back to autopilot. Comfort won again. Old habits tighten their grip, and that version of who you are, who you want to be more, got pushed off to later. But here, you and I know the truth. Later is how people accumulate regret. I talk about it all the time on my social media posts. I talk about it here, the book, The No Regret, or the Regrets, 5 Regrets of the Dying. Later is the reason why so many brilliant, capable, passionate humans end up living only a fraction of the life that they're built for, but not today. Today, we're pulling out the plug on the excuses, the stories, the illusions, and the lies we tell ourselves. Today, I want you to feel something, and it's not guilt or shame. It's possibility, the kind that shakes you awake, the kind that makes you say, enough. I'm not repeating this cycle another year. We're heading into 2026. We're wrapping up 2025. And so what I want you to do is I want you to sit there and look at, okay, you know, the year's almost over and all this other stuff. Then you kind of give yourself the outs. Oh, it's the holidays. It's this. How about this particular broadcast? You light a fire under yourself and you end the year fucking kicking ass and getting over your excuses and getting reconnected with who you are and who you are becoming and what you really want to accomplish most in this life. Because I'm going to tell you something, man. It's easy to get, relaxed and say, oh yeah, I'm going to do it tomorrow. And like I said last week, I'll be happy when. How about just fucking waking up and deciding that today's the day? Today's the day I'm going to reconnect and recommit to myself, right? Because some part of you is ready. Some part of you is tired of doing the same shit over and over again, expecting different results. So let's just get right into it. Let's just get right into it. If you guys are watching live, thank you guys so much. We got Jacqueline in the house. We got Michael Baker in the house. We got Robert Brooker in the house. We got all sorts of beautiful people here live watching this. So feel free as you're watching this to engage with us, ask us questions, and let us know you're here. And we appreciate you guys. So let's get into the first part of the conversation tonight. Number one, the early signs of mental disengagement. You start doing life on autopilot instead of with intention, right? How many of you are on autopilot? You're driving somewhere and you're like, I don't even know how I got here, but you got there because you were all wrapped up in shit in your brain. You know, what was, what could have been, what might be, the fears of tomorrow, the regrets of yesterday. Right. And so you're on autopilot. And then all of a sudden, something, like I said, shocks you awake. And you're like, holy shit, I'm this much old. I only have this many years left. Somebody dies in your life. You know, when we start to default to comfort, we start to look for distractions. And then we start to say to ourselves, it's good enough. I'm good enough. It's okay. It's all right. It's fine. My favorite word. Like when people sit there and tell me I'm fine. I'm like, what is fine? Like, what is fine? Fine to me, it sounds like an excuse you're telling me to let me know you're okay, but you're really not. Because most people, when I say, how are you doing? And they're doing really well, they can't hide it. They're like, oh my God, Chris, everything's so fucking amazing. Or you know what, Chris, I'm so blessed. I'm just so passionate about being grateful for the things that I have in my life. But oftentimes we sit there and we give ourselves the excuse that it's good enough. And then we do that. And because it makes us feel safe and secure. Oh, it's just good enough. And we don't push ourselves outside of our comfort zones because of that fear. And so what we do, we go and we disengage with ourselves. We get distracted. We get on these things, these phones, and we sit there and we get a time suck. So you got to catch yourself. You got to catch yourself and say, am I really engaged in life? Right? Another thing about a disengagement is you start to tolerate small things. You start to tolerate things that drain you. Unfinished tasks or messy relationships or unavoidable stress. You just sit there and start to tolerate it. And you say, oh, it's just part of it. It's all right. It's okay. It's fine. You lose curiosity. You lose enthusiasm or creativity. And you just call it being tired. I'm just tired, Chris. I'm just burned out. I'm just overwhelmed. You know, I'll get back there someday. Or you know what? It's today's someday. Because you clicked on this episode, because you're listening to my voice, because you're paying attention, let's get reconnected today. Because disengagement starts quietly and you don't wake up to it until often it's too late. And you realize you've been in a marriage for 25 years that you knew at year 13 it was not going to be the marriage for you, or their job, or their friendships, or things that you're tolerating. So number two, why do we check out without realizing it? Because we want to avoid discomfort and hard emotions and conflict and disappointment, because in those things in our life, we associate that with being hard and tough. And we don't want to do that anymore. I'm tired of doing that, Chris. I've been through so much and I understand. And I get you. I get you. This life is sometimes very tough and very overwhelming. And so what do? Is we feel overwhelmed and we shut down instead of breaking things into smaller steps. Instead of giving ourselves an opportunity, we give ourselves an excuse. I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed. I've got too much to do. So-and-so is depending on me. I have to do this and I have to do this. And, you know, you actually really do need to give yourself a break. You need to give yourself a break and you need to stop being afraid of success. You need to stop self-sabotaging your success. We talked about here recently on one of the shows, huge thing that we do that we don't realize that we do. Oftentimes like this, we get disengaged. Or we tolerate, or it's just what it is. And we kind of get this excuse blame game going on. Oh, it's the government. It's this, it's that. I won't be happy until the new president comes in or whatever it might be. So you check out and you sit there and you say it's this emotional exhaustion, but it's shit that you know that's going on, but you're just not doing anything about it. I talked about it in a few episodes recently that clicked for somebody. We talked about closing the loop. Closing the loop, like closing the loop. Sometimes we feel overwhelmed because we got so much stuff. I started this and I started this, and you know, I'm not going to start anything new until I finish the stuff that I've been doing. But maybe the stuff that you've been doing isn't who you are anymore, right? I have a 69 Dodge Charger sitting right below me. And for all of my life, I was going to put it in a magazine. I was going to do this and I was going to do that. And I loved working on it. And my dream was to have a 3-car garage and have all my tools in one place and be able to take it apart and leave it apart and have a cool garage. And I got all that and I still didn't do anything. And then I suddenly realized I'm a 56 years old. Maybe a 69 Charger just isn't my thing anymore. Maybe I thought it was. Maybe it was because the people I hung out with. Maybe because it was this dream that I never finished. And so it's this thing that's weighing on me. So there's a part of me that says, hey, maybe just sell it. Maybe just sell it and give it to somebody who's going to actually enjoy it and go with it. Maybe that's not you anymore. And how about letting that go? How about letting that responsibility go? And like, yeah, I mean, part of my identity and who I'm known for and all these different things. But at the same time, if you're not excited about it, then why keep dragging it through your life? And why keep punishing yourself about something that's not done? Right? It's not done, but why? Hey, why can't we enjoy it? And we got to just sit there and think about the other aspect of it is we lose trust with ourselves. And that's one of the reasons why we get disengaged. We stop trusting ourselves. I tell it to people all the time. Like, what would it be like if you started keeping your promises to yourself? What would it be like? What are like 3 accomplishments you can think of right away when you start keeping your promises to yourself? When you stop letting yourself down, when you stop self-sabotaging and giving yourself all these excuses. Like, think about it. I talked about it recently. What's one excuse that by which if you started addressing some of the things, the fallout from that excuse, what would change? What would change for you? Right? How would it be to be emotionally engaged again? And I'll use my example too with the podcast. I started thinking about it. I'm like, I've said everything. And sometimes I feel like I show up to these podcasts and I say, oh, I've said that last week. And people are going to be like, oh, Chris, you keep repeating yourself. A lot of it is repetition. A lot of it is how I can say it in such a way that the receptivity for you, the listener, the watcher, goes, oh, now I get it. Or now I'm at a point where I could be receptive. Open that receptivity up now. Start telling yourself you're open to new ideas. You're open to new ways of doing things. How about saying, you know what? I'm just going to say no. I'm just going to say no. I'm going to stop my bullshit. And I'm going to finish what it is that I started this year. Particularly, I told myself I was going to get rid of clutter in my garage, clutter on my side yard, clutter in my house. And guess what? I've done it. In some parts, there have been times, oh, I need to fucking get on it. But I know when I finish out the end of the year, I can look back and say, hey, man, I got rid of like 2 bins full of stuff I donated to the local agency. Even instead of just doing a garage sale and stuff like that, I recommitted. And there's points where you can recommit and say, hey, today's the day. Today's the day I'm going to recommit so that I can finish out the year feeling stronger about myself. I'm not going to let myself indulge over the holidays like I normally do. I'm actually going to pick something that I said I was going to do this year, and I'm going to fucking do it. I'm going to just sign up for an art class. I'm going to start painting. I'm going to clear out my closet. I'm going to, whatever it might be, just do it. And as you start to do it, you realize, oh, that wasn't so bad. That wasn't as overwhelming as I thought. And just start doing whatever it might be. I know my wife gets that way. She's like, oh, I just don't know where to start. I'm like, just start with the fucking first pile you see. And just say, hey, man, if I get through one pile today, that's going to be pretty cool, right? That's going to be pretty cool. So what can be cool for you? What can be cool for you? I could think of a lot of things that could be cool for you. Let's keep on going here. Where is my notes? Gotta have my notes. Number 3, the emotional cost of staying checked out. Your confidence erodes because you stop following through, right? So, oh yeah. And then you start hanging around people that don't do as much stuff and you guys kind of all commiserate. I'll tell you this. You're like the 5 people you're around the most. So if you're around crushers and people are out there killing it and doing it, chances are you're going to be like that. I know when I've invested in myself and been in those networking groups, those mastermind groups, those coaching groups, whatever it might be, got around other people, guess what? My game leveled up. Because when I would show up there once a quarter, I'd want to show up and say, hey, man, I did this and I did this. And you guys gave me that advice and I acted on that. Or I thought about that advice and I changed it. But there's accountability. There's honor. There's a sense of pride, right? And I talk about this a lot. Last year, my word for myself was pride. What can I do today that I'm going to be proud of? What decisions? How can I act? How can I resemble the best version of myself so that if today is my last day, then I can actually be really excited about the way I live my life. But our confidence erodes and we stop following through. We start to judge ourselves harshly for the very thing that we're avoiding. And then our relationships start to feel more distant and our communication becomes reactive. We resent our responsibilities that we used to feel grateful for. We feel behind in life, even though no one's pressuring us. And our identity shrinks and we forget what we're capable of. Again, we're in that status quo. We're in that misery. And why this matters is because this is where you lose your spark. But the big thing is you lose your standards. You lose your values. I was just working with a coaching client recently and I said, okay, let's work on your values, because in those moments of indecision, you can sit there and say, does this support my highest value? Does this support my top values? Integrity, being impeccable with my word, whatever it might be. What is your value? Honesty. Am I being honest with myself right now? Am I actually happy right now with the things that I'm doing and the things that I'm saying? No. Okay, what can I do? What responsibility can I take? What's one thing by which doing so will give me that sense of accomplishment? What's the one thing that I have avoided for so long that by which getting it done will give me that feeling of self-respect? The self-respect that we can keep. Because guess what? We started dropping our standards and it started being acceptable. I see a lot of my friends. I see pictures of them. I've never met them before, but I see pictures on Facebook and social media, and I see that they're getting heavier. We'll just be honest. I see they're gaining weight and I'm like, man, they're letting themselves go. They're not keeping their promises to themselves. And then I check in, what's going on? Well, there's been stuff going on with my job. And there's been stuff going on with this, and I hurt my ankle, so I can't work out. And I mean, well, you hurt your ankle, but you can't work out. Yeah. I can't do anything. Like, really? You can't do bands. You can't do upper body. You can't get creative in what you can do. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you could do. There's a thing at the treadmill, or there's the thing at the gym where you actually just use your arms to pedal. There's different things. There's bands, there's resistance, but yet you give yourself the excuse. You give yourself the get out of jail free card. Oh, I hurt my ankle, so now I can't work out. So then if you can't work out, you can't eat really well, and you can't I'm just on this break. And then the break starts to feel like shit, and you start to feel like shit. And then you start to get embarrassed. And then you're like, oh, well, I guess I'll just start brand new at the beginning of the month, or I'll start when the holidays over. It's no business. I shouldn't be trying to lose weight in the holidays. That's ridiculous. No, it isn't. It's not. It's actually portion control. And go ahead and enjoy yourself on Thanksgiving, but then have a walk after dinner. Right? And tell everybody, hey, let's go for a walk. Let's go check out the lights at the Mission Inn. You know, we live here in Riverside. We can go out and check out the Christmas lights. So how to reignite presence and engagement, right? Reconnect with one meaningful priority for the week. Like, what is one priority that you've been talking about? Oh yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Okay, just take out a pen and paper and write down the 3 actions that you need to take first, or you can take first. And I promise you may say, oh, I don't know if I'm going to get anything done. I don't know if it's going to make any difference. But just make a promise to yourself to reconnect to that priority. What is that priority for this week? Revisit the why. Why is it that this is important to you? Oftentimes we disconnect from our why. Like, why is this important to me? Because I take pride in my house. For me, I take pride in my house. So if somebody drops by, which isn't very frequent, but if somebody comes by, hey, come on in, check it out. Like, there's sometimes where the place looks like a fucking Costco warehouse, or it looks like a bunch of homeless people are squatting in different spots. And so I make it a priority for me that, hey, I want my home to be presentable if anybody decides to stop by. I want it presentable for myself so that I'm not overwhelmed by the stuff that's around here. And sometimes there was just a situation, there was a bunch of stuff sitting out, and finally I just had to say, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick it all in a bin. I'm going to put it in the storage shed. I'm going to label it. And guess what? If nobody does anything with it within the next 6 months, I'm going to donate it. But at least I got it out of my sight. And guess what? Now, every time I walk up the stairs, I felt like I dealt with it. And I feel a sense of pride, and I feel a sense of accomplishment because I re-engaged with that priority. And then guess what? I did. I was like, well, if I could do that, then I could do this. And then I could say, I got a couple of things done. And then you start to sit there and say, what else can I do? What else is possible? What else is possible? And revisiting your whys, right? Because I'm not a messy person, because I'm a person who keeps my word, because I'm a person who finishes the things that I say that I'm going to do, because that's the example that I want to set for my kids, because I no longer want to walk by it and feel that sense of dread. Like, if it isn't that important to you, just put it in a box and label it. And if you go back 6 months later and it hasn't been that important, why do I really still need it? And another thing you can do is reestablish boundaries, reestablish what it is that you're willing to tolerate in your life. And I do this, like last week, we were talking about the lies that we tell ourselves. I don't have enough time. Really? So what do you spend your time doing? Is there equity in the house of who's doing responsibilities? Do you have your kids responsible for putting their laundry away and helping out with stuff? Right? So what is the thing that you're tolerating the most in your life? And what would happen if you address that toleration within yourself and within your family, within your friend group? Right? So oftentimes we're overwhelmed by this thing that's nagging at us or it's hanging in our mind. So here's the thing you do. Take a look at the shit that you're tolerating and say, I'm not going to do it anymore. Again, like I said before, keeping that word with yourself, keeping that self-respect. What are my values? Do I value respect for myself? Yes. It is number 3 on the list. Okay. So moving forward, I'm not going to jeopardize the value on that, because that means a lot to me. And that means making tough decisions, then so be it. I can go back and I can change tough decisions. But right now, here's what I'm willing to commit to. Because right now, if you're in that state of, I don't know, and I'm just overwhelmed, I'm just getting by and I'm just getting through, then you're not committed. And if you're not committed, then how are you starting your day? Right? If you're not committed, you're starting your day like, fuck it, I guess we'll see what happens, or today is going to suck, or today is going to be long, or my boss is going to be in a bad mood, whatever it is. Is that okay? Is that okay? Is that how you want your kids starting the day? Is that how you want your loved ones to start the day? Or perhaps you wake up in the morning and say, you know what? I've been fucking giving myself a lot of excuses and a lot of lies lately. But hey, you know what? Today, I'm going to focus on what I'm grateful for. Today, I'm going to set the intention to do one thing, to keep my promise about one thing. What can I do this week? And even if you just do that 52 weeks in a year, what would your life be? Imagine in 2026, you make a commitment to yourself, and it's not overwhelming. It's not 17 things, but you make a commitment to start and finish one goal every. Oh, that's not very much, Chris. I know it may not be very much, but you do that for the first 6 weeks and you're like, fuck, I got 6 big things done. You got 7 days, you got 24 hours in a day, you got chat, you got YouTube, you got Google, you got the resources to figure it out. You can plan it out, whether you're a digital person or a pen and a paper guy or a dry erase person. You could put that information down there and say, okay, what do I need to accomplish? On Monday, I need to do these 3 things. On Tuesday, I need to do these 3 things. On Wednesday, I need to do these 3 things. Maybe Monday and Tuesday get out of sorts. Okay, so on Wednesday, I'm going to make it up a little bit. Guess what? I'm going to get up a little bit early. Or Saturday, I'm going to get up before the family gets up, and I'm going to do that. What is it that you're going to do? What is it that you're going to get resourceful about? Call bullshit on your excuses and your lies and start putting yourself first and putting your opportunity to be proud and have a sense of accomplishment for yourself. And then stop worrying about what everybody else is doing and not doing. Stop worrying about the shit that is out of your control, that all you do is bitch, piss, and moan about, and you find other people to complain about and commiserate about, but you don't do anything about it. How about that? How about that? How about taking that small action? You know what? You don't need motivation. You need connection. You need reconnection. You need somebody in your life who's sitting there saying, hey, Charlie, hey, Betty, hey, Julie, what is it that you're doing this week? How are you going to get about it? And then having somebody follow up with you and say, hey, did you do it? Did you keep your promise? That's what we do in our group coaching program. Our group coaching program, which has been going on now for 2 years at least. Everybody has a group accountability partner, and they check in with that person every other week, opposite my meetings that we have twice a month. And they have people that check in with them and say, hey, you said you were going to do this. Why didn't you do this? And so that, because you have that, you have leverage, you have an opposing force that is going to check in with you, and you're going to want to impress that person. You're going to want to keep your responsibilities and your promises. So get accountability people in your life, invest in that. Well, Chris, I got this and I got that. Okay. Who is it that you could trade services with? Like, I've traded services for my coaching services for something else. I had a workout coach for a while. I coached them. They coached me. You know, you could do stuff like that. Number 5, how to rebuild inner momentum. So here's what you do is you take little wins, little pieces, little somethings, right? I love sticky notes. Like, put a couple of sticky notes on your monitor and say, you know what, here's a couple of big projects that I've been putting off this year. And guess what? On the sticky note, put 5 steps that you need to do in order to accomplish it. And maybe you don't do it like you've always done it. Maybe the leverage is there to sit there and say, you know what, I've got all this clutter. I'm going to have a garage sale and I'm going to take the money and I'm going to buy groceries for people in need. I'm going to buy Christmas presents for families who probably won't be able to afford it this year because of all the prices that have gone up and people have lost their jobs. What can I do within my community? What can I do within my family to tell people, hey, let's not exchange presents this year. Let's actually take that money and go give it to somebody else and go donate it and make an impact in somebody else's Christmas and Thanksgiving. How about that? Let's do that. How about let's be a part of the problem and not be a part of the problem and be a part of the solution. And so sometimes we need to rebuild that inner momentum. And sometimes we need to do that outside of ourselves and reconnect to the love and the joy of humanity and the love and the joy of giving and spreading, because so oftentimes we think that if we get, we'll be happy. But when you realize that there's a lot of kids out there that aren't going to have Christmas this year and may have crappy Thanksgivings because of the SNAP program and whatever else that's going on in the United States and all over around the world, the weather in Jamaica and Haiti and all the different things that have impacted people, how awesome would it be for us all to sit there and collectively say, you know what, I've been a shit this year. I've been focusing on stuff that I can't control, but you know what? I can control this. And now I'm going to take a stance in my life and I'm going to start getting some shit done and I'm going to start making a difference in my community. I'm going to donate to a food pantry. I'm going to offer to babysit kids for free, whatever it is that you can do. My wife bakes bread for the neighbors for free. She bakes bread. She loves to do it. It's like, okay. So when you think about where you have decided or maybe not decided to disconnect from reality, this is your wake-up call. This is your wake-up call. This is an opportunity for you to sit there and say, that's not me. And so for me, when I go back to my why at the gist of it is to fight for what's right and what's fair, to risk for which that mattered, and leave the earth a better place for who I am and what I did. And a big part of my why is to be an amazing dad to my 8-year-old son who's about to be 9. And so there's a lot of leverage. There's a lot of self-reflection in what I do and why I do it. And one of the biggest things I realized is that I have allowed my emotions and my pain and everything else to bleed out in my ability to be a present and compassionate and loving father. Sometimes I'm short and I'm frustrated. I'm like, oh, Jackson, I've had to tell you this and da-da-da-da. So I've had to stop. And like, actually tonight we're recording the show. Normally I do it live every Tuesday night, but I've decided lately I'm like, you know what? I got to stop and I got to interrupt and I got to do this. Like, how about if I just record it? And that way I could spend the whole entire night with my son and not have to sit there and say, I'm going to go do this, because he's like, Dad, why don't you record it? That way you don't have to interrupt our time together. So when you start looking at the things you're doing and you start to ask yourself the question, how can I do that differently? Or why am I continuing to do that? Right. I challenged somebody. They talked about, oh, I've got to separate the clothes into darks and whites and this and that. I'm like, how long does that process take you? Like, between all the it takes me 45 minutes. It's not a big deal. I'm like, what if you just put all the clothes in the fucking washer and threw some soap in and did it? Oh, well, then this and that. Da, 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 da. I'm like, what if you just tried it? Could you tell a difference? And I can tell you this, most people that try it, unless they're fucking anal retentive, put all their shit in the washer, and they're like, oh my God, Chris, I've been spending all this time doing that. I didn't notice any difference. My reds didn't seem any redder. My blues didn't seem any bluer. My whites may seem a little bit more dingy, so I can run those and just bleach. But just look at the things that you're doing and say, do I still have to do that? Do I still have to wash my dishes literally and then put them in the dishwasher and then take them out of the dishwasher and put them away? What if I'm just washing them in the sink? How much harder would it be to me to fucking just wash them all the way and then dry them and put them away and totally bypass that entire step of, I got to put them in the dishwasher so they get disinfected, which is a load of bullshit. Like, just use hot water and wash them and fucking dry them and put them away. Have somebody in your family help. Hey man, you know what? After dinner, we're going to put some music on and we're going to do the dishes together. I'm going to wash and you're going to dry. And then tomorrow you're going to wash and I'm going to dry. Get the family involved, get creative, get responsible with your stuff. And so if you know me, you know that I love questions. Absolutely love questions. Actually, I'm going to be having a guest on the show who's been on the show, Bob Tidy. I forgot how to pronounce his name, but he's the master on questions. So here are some questions that you can do for home study as a part of this conversation. So here's question number 1. Where am I just showing up physically, but not mentally? Where am I just showing up physically, but not mentally? And you'll probably look at your family life. You look at your job. I've been there, but I haven't been present. And here's one way to get present is just set the intention. You're driving to work. Like, my intention for the next 8 hours is to be whoever I am at work and be the best that I possibly could be at it. And I got people telling me like, oh, it's just not worth it anymore. You're not recognized. You're just a number and all these different negative things. But for me, when I decided to show up and be the best person that I could be, if I'm going to be a manager, how can I be the best possible manager? How can I have better connections with my employees? How can I continue to learn about great leaders and apply that? How can I understand different generations working in the workplace together? What can I proactively start to do for myself to make that commitment? Because if we're just showing up and we're not fully engaged, then guess what the results are going to be? And does our family, do our friends, do the people that we love the most, do they deserve the best part of us or the worst part of us? And you think about that. Have you been a drain on your family? Have you been a drain on your friends? Have you been a bummer to be around? And I will tell you this, I had to ask myself that question. And I realized, even though I'm justified in my pain and all this other stuff, I'm like, do they enjoy being around me? No, they put up with me. Oh yeah, dad's in pain, dad's in pain. I thought about it the other day. I'm like, if I died tomorrow, I'm guessing my kid would say, oh, my dad, it sucks. My dad was in a lot of pain. He was always in pain. And that might be his perspective, but that's his truth. So I don't want him to think that I'm always in pain and I'm always miserable. Right. And I tend to use that as an excuse. Oh, buddy, I'm just in a lot of pain. And I am. But maybe I need to be more intentional about that. Maybe like when I get done recording the podcast, I usually say, okay, now who do I need to be? I need to be an amazing husband, supportive husband to my wife. Like, how can I help her out? What can I do? How can I make her feel special? How can I make my son feel special? Can I go down there and say, hey, let's play robots or let's play this, something he wants to do? Can I go down there and light him up? As opposed to, oh, I need my 20 minutes and I want to watch my YouTube or whatever it is. Like, if you're just showing up and fogging a mirror, say, what can I do to show up and actually participate? And one of the things you could do to participate is to ask people questions and ask how they're doing and listen and say, oh, so how was your day? Well, tell me more. But I asked my son, like, so if you were to teach me how to do that, what would be the 3 steps? And so I just ask him to teach me, and I ask him to share what's going on in his mind as opposed to what's going on in my mind. Here's another question. Which relationships or responsibilities feel like I'm coasting through? Which responsibilities or relationships do I feel like I'm coasting through? And you have to be honest. This is that honest reflection where you sit there and say, hey, what is my partner's love language? Have I made them feel special lately? Have I done something totally out of character for myself? Have I surprised them on a Wednesday night with dinner and flowers? Have I got them a cool gift that they might enjoy doing as a hobby? Right? Have I got them a cooking class? Did I buy them a paint set? Have I offered to go do a salsa dancing class? Like, which relationships or responsibilities do I feel like I'm coasting through? And chances are people won't say anything. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. But if you ask them honestly, like, yeah, you know what? It just hasn't been there or whatever, the friendship or whatever it is, do something cool, like be spontaneous, like sit there and say, you know what, for 2026, let's plan a boys trip. Let's all, whatever is within our budget, let's have something to look forward to on our calendar. And let's do this. And I'll plan the activities and you plan the meals and you plan the adventures. Let's do something crazy that we've never done before. Let's make it fun. Like, get engaged, put yourself back in that spot of how would I be if I was excited about this relationship? And if you ask yourself like, man, I'm just not excited about it anymore, then say, you know what, do I really need to put that time and that investment in it? Or is it okay to sit there and realize that maybe that person was for a season or a reason and not a lifetime? And I've had to do that in my personal friendships. It's like, oh, I should call that person. I should call that person. I should go do something with that person, right? That's hanging over there, that unclosed loop in my brain. And I just sat there and think, like, do I really get value out of that relationship anymore? Would I be for that person? 100%. But we all grow and change and things, and sometimes you need to let those things go. Maybe like I need to do, like, how can I go about making one new friend in the next couple of months? Like, I'm doing horrible. I got lots of friends all over the world that I can check in with and all this, but people in my life physically, I don't have a lot of that anymore. And it's kind of sad. So I have to put it on myself. Well, how can I make it fun? Like, I've started shooting guns. I'm getting back into music. I'm getting back into my car stuff. So how can I make one friend? How can I challenge myself to make one friend? Or maybe I need to go back and revisit one of my friends before and sit there and say, hey, I got back into the Charger. Wouldn't it be cool if like I have my friend Danny Hey, let's make it a goal in the next 6 months to drive both of our cars halfway and meet for dinner. How cool would that be? We've been talking about doing that forever. And then you have a little goal and you have something fun. And then you check in. How are you doing on yours? How are you doing on yours? You start sending text messages and you rekindle that relationship. You don't take it for granted, because you think about it this way. If you got a call and said Danny was dead tomorrow, would you feel like you needed to have said something? I do. And I don't. So that's an open loop. And so how about if we sat there and we really realized, man, I got like 13 open loops in my life. Projects, things I said I was going to do, things I haven't finished, like my book. That's another thing that's an open loop. I mean, it's a huge thing. You guys, if you're new to the podcast, I wrote a book. It's called It's Just You and Me, Kid. It's a story of a mother and son survival on the streets of Southern California. I started writing it in 2020. It's still not done. So I have that big, giant open loop. I've got the open loop of music and podcasts. I've got all sorts of open loops. So what can I do? What responsibilities and relationships can I focus on? The car, I just got my 69 Charger. I spent $25,000 getting it running and making it really super cool in 2015. And then I didn't drive it. And I'm like, oh, I need fuel injection. Now I need this. Now I need this. And I gave all these excuses like, no. And then I didn't start it for 2 years because I was raising cats it's a whole other story. And so then the car wouldn't start and the fuel pump went out. And so I replaced the fuel pump and it cost something else. And I had all these different things. And then I let it sit for 6 months because I didn't want to deal with it because I was afraid in my brain. I'm like, what else is going to go wrong with this fucking thing? I don't enjoy doing this anymore. So now if I don't work on it, then I don't have to be disappointed. So if it is something that's just out there to be done, then I can sit there and I can have hope. Oh yeah, I'll get it done someday. But then I finally just got tired of my own shit. And I'm like, Chris, you need to go out there and pull all the shit that you have stacked on top of it. You're using an excuse, get it off. Do something with that. XXX. Got it started. Went out there and I couldn't get the fuel pump line on there. It took me an hour. But finally, because I did not stop, I got it threaded and I got it on there and the fuel went in there and the car finally started and it ran like shit. But guess what? One tweak here. And then I pulled it out into my driveway and then I pulled it out into the street and then I drove it around the block and I was like, oh my God, this thing's a tank and it's so loud and it burns rich and all these different things I'm complaining about. But I'm like, holy shit, I did it. I got it. Now I can get in it and I can start it. There's nothing on top of it. And I feel a sense of accomplishment, a sense of pride because I reconnected with that. I'm not coasting through that anymore. So now I've made a list of what I need to do. Fuel injection is right down there. So what is it you're going to do? Here's another question. Where have I stopped caring, but haven't admitted it yet? Again, taking a look at yourself. Oh, am I happy with the way I look? I'm 56 years old. I'm about to be 57. I lost 20 pounds this year, very intentionally, very slowly, because it slowly crept up. And so now I'm looking at it like, how can I make 57 the best year of my life? What can I start doing here in 2026 to set myself up for that? I'm taking new supplements, blood tests. I've got all sorts of different things going on. So I'm excited. Like, how would it be if I had more clarity? How would it be if I got better sleep? How would it be if I started increasing my VO2 max, which is something that I'm excited about? Like, okay, one of the big indicators of longevity is your VO2 max, is how much air, oxygen you have through your system when you're working out. That's the layman's terms of it. But now I'm kind of excited. Like, what can I do? And I've been walking more and strengthening my legs and like, okay, how can I prepare myself for the last decade in my life? So going back to the question, where have I stopped caring but haven't admitted it yet? Oh yeah, I'm just getting older. I'm just getting this. No. How can you get stronger? How can you get better? Like, oh, maybe I could start taking PPC 157 or something like that. I still need to start taking that. I started taking bee pollis. I'll be honest with you, that stuff is nasty, but the part of the bee pollen, I guess, that's super healthy, there it is. So what is it you can do? Here's another question. What emotion am I avoiding? What fear is hiding underneath my disengagement? Usually it's a fear of success, a fear of failure, a fear of making a mistake. Oh man, I said I was going to do this 17 times. Like, I don't talk about my book right now because I've said so many times it's going to come out. So what emotion am I avoiding? Embarrassment. Okay. What can I do? You know what? I can actually book a camping trip and the book's nearly done. So here are the 3 steps that I can do to finish that. What fear is hiding underneath my disengagement? What story am I still telling myself to justify not trying? Right? So here's some exercises that you can do. The presence audit. Rate these 1 to 10. Health, work, relationships, home, creativity, finances, emotional state, habits, growth, communication. Identify the lowest 2 and commit to 1 small action each. So again, health, work, relationships, home, creativity, finances, emotional state, habits, growing, communication. If you're not investigating artificial intelligence and how it is going to impact your career or your role or how you can use AI, you should be doing that. Like recommitting. How can I recommit to my career? How can I recommit to my side hustle? How can I commit to a new side hustle? What are the things that I can do? Where am I not being present? Here's another thing. When you think about it, when you think about your life and you think about what it is that you're focusing on, just ask yourself, what brings a smile to my face? What makes me feel a sense of accomplishment? What makes me feel a sense of community? If you're a religious person, what actions do I take that get me closer to God? So would it be like that? Like, get simple with yourself. What brings me the most joy? What brings me the most heartache? What brings me the most frustration? Who brings me the most frustration? Like, you got to get honest with yourself. And in that honesty, it sucks and it's painful. Chris, it's going to be hard. Yeah, you know what? But guess what? It's going to be worth it. Excuse me. It's getting colder in Southern California. My nose is running. So it's about that awareness. It's like, I call it the AAA, you got to be aware first. I'm aware that I'm disengaged. Okay. And the next thing is you have to accept it. I accept that that's my responsibility. I have accepted that I have held myself to a lesser standard. I have accepted that I've let myself go. I have accepted that I've given myself excuses to not do things. Okay. So we've got the awareness. We got the acceptance. What's the third A? The third A is that action. Like we've been talking about in the conversation. Regrets suck. And this thing called momentum is easily built by taking that one action and then taking the next action and the next action and the next action. So what can I do? You can sit there and say, how do I start my day? Oh, I start my day in a bad mood. I start my day worrying about what the day is going to be like. I start, projecting out that it's going to be a bad day. So how about I wake up in the morning, the first thing I say is I'm fucking grateful. Oh my God, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for a beautiful night's sleep. I'm grateful that the world didn't go to shit overnight. I'm grateful that my son wakes up. I'm grateful that we're healthy. I'm grateful for my animals have food in the house. Like, there's so much to be grateful. Where your focus goes, energy flows. So if you're figuring, my car is this and my house is this and my relationship's this and my body's this and the government's this and my boss is that and my career, if you're looking at all that stuff and you're focusing on it, that's how you get overwhelmed. That's how you get inundated. That's how you get paralyzed from not taking any action, because we're like, oh, why bother? It's so pointless. It's hopeless. It's not hopeless. It's not hopeless until it's done, right? They sit there and talk about World War III and Russia and all this other stuff. Well, guess what? Until the bomb hits, I'm going to live my life. I'm going to act as if I did die tomorrow, well, who would show up and what would they say? Perhaps lately my son would say, oh my God, my dad's been in a bad mood because he's been in so much pain. Okay, so what do I need to do? I need to do a better job about not eating Halloween candy that causes me to get inflamed, that causes my pain to get worse, that causes my joints to hurt. I need to accept responsibility and say, you know what, Chris, just because it's a little, oh yeah, I can justify it away, but no, now I can recommit to feeling great, recommit to starting the day great, recommit to saying, how can I be a better dad? Irregardless of how I feel, because so oftentimes we sit there and we put, well, I feel tired and I feel this and I feel that. It's like, okay, so what would it be like if I was tired and still acted like I had a lot of energy anyway? How would it be like if I just told myself, yeah, irregardless of the fact I feel tired, I'm going to bring it. I'm going to bring excitement. I'm going to bring joy. I'm going to walk through the front door and not tell my wife and my family about how terrible my day was and how much my traffic sucked and how much everything else. I'm going to walk through the door. Hey, how was your day? And what's going on? And let's do something. Let's play a family game. Let's make dinner together. Let's go out to dinner. Let's do whatever. Like, be excited about your moments. Be excited about the intention you get to create by your actions. Instead of being a victim, instead of being a negative Nelly and disappointed and all that other shit, which you might be justified for, how about just sitting there saying, fuck it, man, I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm not stuck in a cave somewhere. Man, I got challenges, but I've got opportunities as well. And trust me, we all have challenges. The world is a challenging place. I've talked about it that very honestly and very vulnerably here on the episodes this year. You guys asked me to do more solo shows, and I've done more solo shows here in 2025. But in 2026, for me, when I sit there and I think about the staleness sometimes or the repetitiveness of what it is that I say, in 2026, I'm going to have more guests back. And so what I've decided is to have guests on about subjects that I don't know about. So now you and I can discover those topics together, or I can have solo shows where I'm going to say, hey, let's all of us learn about Gen Z and what's going on in the workplace. So maybe I don't know about it and I'm not in leadership anymore, but we sit there and we take a look at what's going on with Gen Z, and maybe you understand your coworkers a little bit more. So we go on that journey together. We bring guest experts on here and we talk about that. So now I've got new intention about the broadcast. I've actually been working on redesigning the logo and making it to where the Raw and Unscripted show can go into politics. The Raw and Unscripted show can go into music. The Raw and Unscripted show could go into any place that I want to, instead of just being about me teaching you guys what I know. That's gotten a little less than exciting, to be honest with you. So now we can go on a learning journey together. And then in that process, I can sit there and say, okay, we're at a crossroads. We can look at it this way, or we can look at it that way. Perhaps we get somebody on here. We talk about politics. We talk about what's going on. And I don't know. And maybe I ask that person a set of questions and they have a set of answers. And then I have somebody on that's a little bit different. They have a set of questions. We have a set of questions and a set of answers, and that's different. But you and I together, we sit there and we have the conversation here on the broadcast. And we sit there, okay, how can we make sense of this? How can we use this for further greatness instead of further objectification or scrutiny or ridicule or whatever it might be that we tend to go to naturally? How can we sit there and say, okay, I'm going to do more of this? Because if you're disengaged, it's your fault and it's your focus and it's your responsibility to sit there and say, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. In your relationships, right? Read the 5 love languages, pick a book, or go on there and sit there and what can I do with my wife or my partner together? Maybe you take a class. I was just talking with a friend of mine. He's been taking a group relationship class, an intimacy class. And he's like, Chris, it's really awkward, but it's really done a lot for me and my wife. And my first honest response was, yeah, no. But then I'm like, okay, my wife deserves that. It's uncomfortable, but yeah, I mean, we need to bring more closeness in our relationship. We've been together for 23 years. So I need to accept responsibility for that. I need to go to her and say, hey, babe, I really care about our relationship. And I heard from Scott this thing. Let's check it out. And maybe she's like, oh my God, he's actually doing something. I don't have to do everything. And she gets excited. And now we have something to do together. And now we're feeling better and we're doing better. And maybe some of the things that she's been disconnected from, she gets reconnected to. And maybe that bleeds into my life. And now I'm like, oh, wow, she's reconnected to that. How cool is that? That just made my life easier, all because I just decided to make our relationship better. Right? You see how that happens? Things start to dovetail and fall in alignment when we take that responsibility, when we take that action, whether we feel like it or not, right? So oftentimes, oh, I don't feel like it. Okay, what can I do to feel like it? Or perhaps I need to let this go, right? So are you more engaged? Are you more excited about your life and your conversation as a result of paying attention to this broadcast? I hope so. What is it for you? What are the things that you have used in your life to become re-engaged? For me, I get excited because I like to watch other podcasts and I get to learn stuff. And I'm like, okay, how can I apply that in my life? How can I get really excited about the podcast? So I can do a logo regeneration. I could do a relaunch. I could reboot and talk about this, the new and improved, and sit there and think about, okay, how can I get excited about it? How can I get excited about anything in my life? Okay, man, I'm going to go to bed tonight and there's 2 things that I want to be able to say that I got done. And so then we do it and we start checking those things off. I've been doing that all this year. And so I feel a sense of pride. I feel a sense of accomplishment. I feel like a sense of I'm a part of it and I'm accepting responsibility and not just sitting there giving myself excuses. So give yourself an opportunity. boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen of the kick-ass Raw and Unscripted Nation. If you're not in the Raw and Unscripted group on Facebook, get in there, go to Facebook, type in Raw and Unscripted. You'll see the group there. If you are watching the podcast all the time and you're not listening to it, go to rawandunscripted.com and you guys can find us on Spotify, on Apple, or wherever you get your podcast. And do me a favor, share this out with somebody. Share this out. We're going to be posting snippets. We always post short snippets after the broadcast. Share those out. And then let me know what you want to see more topics and conversations on, because this is a conversation with you. So I appreciate and love you guys that are tuning in, that are watching, Jacqueline and Robert and all the beautiful people out there, whether you're watching live or on the replay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll be back here next Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We might have a guest next week. I have been working on something. So let us know what you want. info@noexcusescoach.com, info@noexcusescoach.com. Or of course, reach me on social media anywhere @noexcusescoach. Make sure you're checking out my TikToks. And I love you guys. We'll be back here next week on the Raw and Unscripted show. Go out there and recommit to being connected.